beef oxtail. It's what's for dinner. Well, it's not for dinner tonight because I gotta marinate it first. I'm gonna cook it tomorrow. If you've never had beef oxtail stew, you are missing out. I'm gonna show you how I marinate this, and then I'm gonna cook it tomorrow. So I'm gonna let it marinate all today and tonight, and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna stew it and just stew it for a long time until it just gets fall off the bone tender. This is really good, especially if you like meat that has like the collagen that kind of breaks down, and it's not quite like, it is somewhat fatty, but just the collagen gets really like soft and delicious, and it just kind of melts in your mouth. So I'm making kind of a version of a Caribbean oxtail stew, but I make some modifications to it just to make it easier for me to make. So I'm going to show you how I marinate it. Just thought it would be kind of fun to share in case you have not had oxtail before. You're missing out. It's delicious. This is beef oxtail that I get from Molnar Cattle. They have delicious meat. Definitely check them out. Yes, Mike, you know where it's at. Tell me how you make your oxtail. I'm curious to know what you do when you make oxtail. So I'm going to pull up this isn't my own recipe, okay? I did not come up with this. This is from a blog called Cooking with Ria, R-I-A. But again, I kind of modify it. I don't make it exactly how she makes it. Okay, let's see. So I'm making a marinade that is also known as green seasoning. So, or again, it's kind of a modified version. I don't want to say that I'm making exactly the green seasoning because it's not exactly as she says to make it. Let's see. Okay, so I have, I think I have about 4 or 5 pounds of oxtail. Let's see. 1.72 plus 0.85 is like 2.5. 3. So I have 4. I have 4 pounds of oxtail here. Okay, probably not enough. I probably should have gotten. It goes a lot. It takes a long time to make, and it goes pretty quick because it's freaking delicious. Oh, Mike says he makes broth with it. Nothing special, makes a rich broth. Absolutely, it makes great broth. But this, you might enjoy making it this way. Okay, so I'm pretty much what I'm going to do for the marinade. It's pretty simple. It's going to be cilantro and some green onions and some fresh garlic cloves and fresh thyme. And I'm going to blend that all up in my little magic bullet here. So I'm going to blend that all up, and then I'm just going to put the oxtail in it. Well, first I'm going to kind of like clean off the oxtail. Yes, South to West, a cooking stream. This is like an impromptu live. I'm still going live later with the workout, but it's like a rainy day today. It just feels like I'm kind of stuck inside, and I wanted to marinate this. So I figured, well, maybe I'll share it in case people don't make oxtail enough. And you should, because it's delicious. I highly recommend. I love beef, so I make a lot of different beef dishes. Yeah, it's raining. It's raining here in California. You can see there, very, very rainy, gray day outside. So us poor Californians, we're suffering. We're stuck inside. Okay, what I'm trying to look at here is to make sure I'm not missing anything from what I wanted to add to this. So this green seasoning, it's more traditional, I think, to add like pimento peppers into it, but I find for whatever reason, it's really hard for me to find pimento peppers in the grocery stores where I live. So I just kind of skip that and don't add it. So I'm probably missing out on a certain amount of flavor. So if you're able to get pimento peppers, that's nice to add in. So we're gonna do green onions, thyme, and cilantro and garlic. Yeah, so we're just going to do that. Oh, I might add a little bit of celery and a piece of a bell pepper. So just to add a little extra flavor. I'm going to grab that. So I'm going to leave the screen for a minute, but I'm still here. All right, so we got a few things we need. Celery, bell pepper, fresh thyme, green onions, scallions, whatever you call them. And then I got that cilantro, and then I'm gonna need garlic. I probably should have gathered all this before I did a live, but like I said, this is kind of impromptu. I just decided randomly that I was gonna do this, so we're not totally set up. But I'd love to hear from you if you're watching, if you've ever made oxtail, beef oxtail before. If so, how do you make it? Or if there a different type of cut of beef that's your favorite to make. Something else I like to make in a similar way to how I'm making this marinade for the oxtail is short ribs, beef short ribs. If you like fatty meat, that is like the best. Like some fatty beef short ribs in this, made in a similar way. Really, really delicious. You could probably also, pretty much any meat that you could stew, you could make it like this, in my opinion. Okay, so we're going to, again, I don't follow the recipe exactly because the recipe is meant to make like a giant batch that you can use for several different meals, and I'm just using it for 4 pounds of oxtail. Yeah, so actually there's certain things that you think are difficult, like short ribs or oxtail. A lot of it is just like it takes a lot of time to cook to get soft, but it's not actually that complicated to make. Again, it takes time. So it works out for me because I work from home and oftentimes I spend most of my time at home. So, it's easy for me to cook something all day because I'm not going to be leaving. Okay, so we're doing some scallions here. I'm going to remove some of these weird parts that look a little old. And then I'm going to just cut it up a little bit. And again, I'm going to be like blending all of this in my little magic bullet here. If you use your magic bullet for things like smoothies or other things, might not be the best option because the garlic flavor does kind of stay in it. Even, at least for mine, like after I wash it, it stays in there. Hey, Anderson, thanks for joining us. Mike said, I use my short ribs as my fat for elk sausage this year. Turned out great. That sounds delicious. That sounds awesome. I'm doing well, Anderson. Thank you. We're doing well. Hope you are doing well also. Let me know if you've ever made oxtail or do you like oxtail. Okay, so I'm going to add some garlic. I feel like the most time-consuming part of garlic is just removing like the skin. I know there's tricks for it. You can kind of like smash it or whatever, but it's still just like, if you're doing a lot of cloves, it just takes a while. So bear with me. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Anderson. Hope you're keeping up with your workouts. Hope you guys, if you're available, I'm going to be going live later today. Although I'm thinking of moving it a little bit earlier because of the rain. It's really dark outside. I'm supposed to go live at 3:30, but it's really dark and all my lights are in the garage and I don't really want to carry the light upstairs through the rain because I don't want to damage it. So I might be moving that live. I'm supposed to be doing it 3:30 to a bit earlier. But we're going to be going over a parallel workout. So that's going to be a fun one. So if you are available, be sure to join me for that. Oh, thanks, Anderson. Anderson said he enjoyed the video of me and my grandma from the end of last year. She turned 101, and God willing, she will be turning 102 this year, and we'll have another celebration. Hopefully I'll get to cut her another piece of apple pie because she loves apple pie. Any other apple pie lovers out there? I love apple pie too, but I'm not really eating much gluten these days, so I don't really eat it much. although I do love it. I'm Dutch, so we love our apple pie. And Dutch apple pie, let me tell you, is way better than American apple pie. Of course, I'm biased, but just way better. The crust is like a delicious cookie, and the inside, the apples are not like overly sweet. So what I find with American apple pie is the inside is just mushy and way too sweet. Oh yeah, Mike has had some apple pie in Amsterdam. Yes, that is where you get the good stuff, in the Netherlands. Okay, we need a little more garlic here. Anderson said he's been trying to work out. Good, definitely tune into the workout if you can. If you don't have it's a parallel workout, but if you don't have parallettes, you could do many of the exercises body weight as well. So don't let that stop you. So I'm still on the garlic, in case you're wondering what in the heck is going on. I have only added green onions and garlic so far. And again, I'm kind of just winging it on how much to add, because this recipe I have is a recipe for a huge quantity, and I don't really want to waste ingredients by making that much, because I don't have any short ribs right now. So if I had short ribs in my freezer, maybe I'd make an extra batch so I could make those next, but right now it's just oxtail. If you guys tuned into my cooking lives before, my food meal prep lives, I was doing meal prep pretty religiously there for a while. I am no longer doing it the same way. I still meal prep, but I'm not always doing it on the same day. I'm going to add a stalk of celery here, although I think I'm going to wash it first. It's probably a good idea. Yeah, so I'm no longer doing meal prep all on Sundays. I'm kind of spreading it out a little bit more. Also, I finally got sick of eating chili and meatballs. So we have some chili. I might eat some chili today, but took a little break from chili because I had just had enough chili. And I'm not sure if that's enough garlic. So now I'm making other things. I'm also going to be making, for this week, I'm going to be making some, what do I want? I want, just a little piece, really. Just want a little bit of bell pepper here. Just going to remove the seeds. Yeah, I'm also going to make some chicken, some barbecued chicken, but not today because it's raining. So I'll likely marinate the chicken tomorrow and make that the following day. Okay, so just a little bit of bell pepper, roughly chopped. Maybe I should add one more garlic clove. I mean, can't really go wrong with maybe two. Can't really go wrong with too much garlic. Let me know if you agree on that one. I'll add one more. Okay. We're gonna put some thyme in. Some fresh thyme here. Fresh herbs, always a good idea. At one point, I would love to have just like a little herb garden, so I don't have to buy them. I can grow it myself. Okay, so we're just removing that. Yeah, so the other thing I'm going to be making this week, chicken thighs. Kind of like adobo chili. Chicken thighs to use for burrito bowls, and then I'm going to be making a chicken salad. Kind of of similar to a tuna salad, except made with shredded chicken. So cook up some chicken breast, shred it, and then add stuff to it to make it taste delicious, like some mayo, some yogurt, some mustard, probably some celery, and what else? Pickles. Put some pickles in there. Might even put some pickled jalapenos in there. So that's another good one, just easy to have for lunch. Not great to freeze though, so that's probably a better one to do when you know you're going to be eating it in the next 3 to 4 days, like for lunches, as opposed to something like grilled chicken thighs, easy to freeze, and they're still, good when you defrost them. There's definitely certain things that work better to freeze. That's why chili is a staple here, because it is easy to freeze. I just put it in like a mason jar and freeze it, and then there's food available in a pinch, so I don't have to worry about making something if, I run out of food. So again, I'm kind of winging it with the time here. As far as how much I'm putting in, you kind of can't go wrong, in my opinion, as far as like adding all these delicious ingredients to marinate. The only thing you could go wrong with is if you put a pepper, certain types of peppers can sometimes be bitter if they sit for too long. That happened to me once with, I think I added a poblano pepper or something, and it actually made the whole dish come out a little bit bitter. So I'm hesitant to add just any type of pepper. I think sweet pepper should be good, but yeah, that's the one thing you gotta kind of look out for. But other than that, I feel like you can't really go wrong with just adding these delicious fresh ingredients in here to marinate it. At least I haven't gone wrong so far. So I'm gonna marinate this, and then I'm going to cook it tomorrow. Like I said, I'm gonna stew it, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to first brown/burn some coconut sugar. Again, this is like kind of a Caribbean style, but again with some modifications. I'm not doing it exactly according to how they do it, but brown, so get the sugar to get almost to like the smoking point, and then you can do this with just regular brown sugar. I just like to use coconut sugar. And then once it's kind of right at that smoking point, you brown the marinated oxtail in the sugar until it's all like nice and brown, and then like that allows it to like build flavor. And then I stew it with a homemade beef broth, and sometimes like a little bit of ketchup if I have it. And I'll like cook up some onions, just regular onions, and then I just stew it. Stew it, and that really, it makes it super flavorful, super delicious. Highly recommend. Yes, coconut sugar. It's just like sugar that's less processed, less refined than regular sugar, and obviously it comes from coconut as opposed to sugar cane, but it's very good. It tastes just, so there's my thyme. It's probably good. And then, cilantro. I want to add cilantro. Plenty of cilantro. Sometimes I get real particular, and I'll pick off every single little leaf so that the stems don't get in there, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to cut off mostly the leaves. I'm going to show you here. This is the coconut sugar. So it looks like brown sugar, but it's not as sticky, and it's got kind of a finer texture than brown sugar. But it smells amazing. It smells really good. And it's essentially, like I said, you can kind of use it as far as I understand. Don't hold me to this because I don't do a ton of baking. I haven't done a ton of baking with this, but you can use this like instead of brown sugar, and it's like a more natural, less processed sugar. So coconut sugar, there you go. Okay, so now we're gonna add our cilantro, and then we're gonna blend it all up, and then we're gonna prep our oxtail. Probably gonna use about half of this bunch of cilantro, and then maybe I'll use the rest for, I don't quite know what. Maybe I'll use a whole bunch. We'll see. Maybe I'll use a whole bunch. Because it is kind of getting, I feel like cilantro, especially if you buy it at the store, it does get wilty kind of fast. Because it's probably not that fresh. I feel like many things at the grocery store these days, at least here where I'm at, are not super fresh, and so they go bad quickly, which is unfortunate. Okay, so I just cut off most of the leaves. We're gonna toss the rest there, and I think maybe we'll blend it, and then I'll decide if I want to add more cilantro to it, just based on how it smells. So filled up. I'm gonna probably need to add a little water because I don't think my little thing is gonna be able to handle this. Blend it up very well without water. So this little thing is really useful. We're just gonna put it in here. We're gonna blend it up. I gotta work on my camera angles here. All right, delicious herb smoothie, anyone? Garlic herb smoothie? Hi, YouTube Punk. Thanks for saying hi and dropping a like. Appreciate it. Hope you can join us for our workout later. To add more cilantro or not? I think we'll add it. I think we're just going for it. Sorry, was that really loud? Like, I should figure out how to turn off the sound. Yes, the smell test. Do you use the smell test too, Mike? All right, we're going for it. We're putting the rest of the cilantro in here. Because why not? Cilantro's delicious. Okay. Can I hold it closer to the mic? That's a good point. I should probably just like move you further away. And then maybe this won't be so loud. Yeah, it's good to taste as you go, although I don't know that I'll be tasting this, even though it probably tastes pretty good, but I just go by the smell. Okay, so that's pretty much it for creating the marinade. YouTube Punk is melting because it's too loud. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think that's good. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to kind of clean off my oxtail a little bit before I put it in the bowl. Hopefully this will work. As far as my camera angles, clearly I have a ways to go on figuring out these camera angles. Okay, so I'm essentially just going to kind of wipe off liquid here on these guys. We're going to use this bowl. Just cut that guy open, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of clean them off. Some people rinse them. Ooh, this is still a little frozen. Oopsie. So some people wash them. I just kind of wipe them down a little bit and get any kind of like blood off there, so that they're ready to be marinated. If they're a little frozen, not a huge deal because they're going to be sitting in the marinade for quite a while, or at least I say it's no big deal, but I don't really know. That's just I'm gonna make it no big deal. We're gonna. So you'll see that in case you don't know, the oxtail is, well, you know, the tail of the cow, but some pieces are obviously bigger and some are smaller, so it's going to affect like your cooking time. Sometimes I have like really, really small ones. We might have some here. I honestly prefer the bigger ones. I feel like they kind of turn out better, but looks like we got some kind of medium size ones here. Yeah, these are kind of medium, so not bad. These are the ones I like, these big ones. You know, a lot of people will cut fat off of the oxtail, but I love fatty meat, so I would never do that. Well, at least not with my oxtail. Plus, this is grass-fed oxtail, so it's not super fatty. It's not as fatty as corn-fed oxtail anyway. This is like one of the tiny ones. Still good. It just obviously doesn't have a ton of meat on it. So we have a lot of small ones in this bag, unfortunately. Like I said, I like the big ones, but the benefit of the small ones is that they do cook faster. So that is the bonus. Okay, I've got a little bit of a bigger one there. And yeah, we're just gonna get these prepped here, and then we're going to, may or may not need a bigger bowl. Let's see how this goes. Then we're gonna just add the marinade in and make sure it's just all just rubbed on there real good. And then we're gonna just put it back in the fridge and let it sit until tomorrow when I stew it. Generally, you're gonna marinate it for like up to 24 hours or so. I think you could marinate it for longer, but I feel like that's a good enough time frame to develop good flavor. We got one more bag here to do. I think these ones are bigger. Okay. Ooh, we got a big one. Big one. What I also do to just get the most out of the oxtail is I save the bones after we eat the meat off of the bones. We save the bones, and then I use the bones for bone broth later. So, oh my God, this is like a huge one. That's what I'm talking about. Huge. You can see the size difference on some of them. Like, obviously the tail changes in size from top to bottom, but like kind of a big difference. So there's gonna be a big difference in the cooking time for that big one and the small one, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with cooking it a little bit longer than needed just to continue developing the flavor. We've got another pretty big one, but not as big as that other one. That was like a big papa oxtail. Very top of it, like the juiciest part. The funny thing about oxtail is it used to be this cut of meat that I think nobody really wanted to eat. So it used to be really, really cheap to get oxtail, and then people discovered that it's really, really good, and it became kind of this delicacy, and now oxtail is quite expensive to buy. So that's the downside, but I mean, it's not like really expensive because it has a lot of bone in it, so they can't charge like a huge amount for it. Okay, I think I'm gonna need my bigger bowl actually, because I want to make sure there's space for all these suckers. And now what we're gonna do is just mix it in, and then you can stay tuned as far as cooking it. I don't know if I'll go live with that, but I told you how I'm gonna cook it, which is to get that brown sugar to smoking hot, and I forget how much I use, a few tablespoons of it, and then once it's smoking hot, I brown the oxtail in it, and it smells really good. The marinated oxtail with all this green stuff in there. And then once it's browned, I take it out and I put onion in there, and I cook up the onion for a bit, and then I add the oxtail back in, and then I add broth and stew it, and it's really, really good. Yeah, Mike just said that he's noticed that about other less desirable cuts of beef. They have a great flavor. More people are buying them. Yep, I think they're being discovered. So you could also use a spoon for this, but I feel like it's easier to really get the marinade into, like, just really on there really good using your hands. Sometimes there's no substitute for using your hands or like your fingernails. Sorry, that's just how it goes. Just make sure you clean your hands or whatnot. But this is how you're gonna get it just all over, rubbed on there, and then that's it. It's just gonna sit in there. It smells pretty freaking good. And yeah, I've found that it gives it great flavor along with that brown sugar. It's just the fresh herbs, the garlic, and then that kind of burnt, smoky brown sugar adds this like depth of flavor that really, once you have it, there's just no going back. I learned about this from my sister. She told me about this recipe, and there's no going back once you've made oxtail like this, because it just doesn't taste as good without it browning in the sugar. So yeah, I think this is covered pretty well, but I'm gonna have to wash my hand here real quick. Though we still have a little bit of green stuff in here. We might as well get it in the bowl so that we can add it to the stew, because it does make like this delicious rich fatty broth, which if we don't eat it all, I'll just save it and I'll add it to something else. Like I'll add it to the chili I make, or I'll add it if I'm making, another batch of oxtail or short ribs. I'll just use that as broth and add it back in to kind of like keep developing the flavor. So, pro tip right there. Pro tip. All right, so that's pretty much it. Besides, I'm going to wipe off some of this green stuff. Of course, I'm going to get it on my hands again. Wipe off this green stuff here, and then we're going to go ahead and just cover it so that the smell doesn't just get over the entire fridge. So we're just going to cover that with some foil or a beeswax wrapper, whatever you got. And stick it in the fridge. Let it marinate pretty much as long as you can marinate it for. Well, I think there's a certain limit to how long you want to marinate it for, of course. Of course, I'm gonna have to make room in my fridge. So that's the oxtail marinade. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have requests for other things you'd like to see me share as far as meal prep, let me know. Yeah, I was just thinking if there's anything else I can show you, but this is the main thing in meal prepping at the moment. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to sign off, and I'll be back in a few hours. I may change the time, so if you're planning to come to the workout, I'm going to change the time to a little bit earlier, maybe 1:30 or 2. So be sure to check that out. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you soon.